Well, hello, friends.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Good to see everybody. How's it going?
Everything's good. You know, I like this weather, and I know most people who are watching you, Nicole, and listening to you, they have no idea what Southern California weather is unless you're here on a regular basis. But I like it when it kind of cools down a little bit around the holidays. You know,
Uh-huh.
for me, I don't know. I kind of like that you can pull a sweatshirt out. In California, it's kind of weird. If you live here, you know, you bring one to the beach if you're going to stay at night because the weather, drops. But otherwise, we're always dressed for warm weather all the time. You mentioned in the last show that you made a trip back to New York. Do you have like
Yeah,
New York clothes
I
where,
do.
hey, it's cold? You have do you keep them in New York or do you bring them back to California?
Both. We have some stuff there, but I bring it back to California for what there's not a lot of room unless I were to get a storage unit in New York. You know, the space is very limited. So I
Yep.
keep it mostly here and just travel. And because I changed my mind on which kind of coat, like puffers are in this year, right? They're on trend. So I brought my puffer with me, but I have like real coats. I have so that way I can keep them here and just pack like what I'm gonna actually be wearing that trip,
Yeah.
if that makes
No,
sense. Yeah.
does it feel like the holidays to you right now?
Not quite. I mean, it's starting to because all the neighbors are putting up all their Christmas lights and everything, which is
Yeah.
killing me because I haven't done it yet and I really want them up. I haven't had the time to go into my garage and pull it all out. Um, because that means I have to put the Halloween stuff away. I've got all the Halloween stuff like packed by the door, ready to go out, but I just have yet to pull the trigger on doing it. And I have to lug my Christmas tree out and everything. So it's a lot of work. So I have to like be prepared. Um, and my schedule has to line up with my little one so that I have a little helper. But,
Oh yeah.
it is starting and you know what? I never bought into, like, the Black Friday, Cyber Monday thing before,
Yeah.
but because you no longer go line up at stores, right? And seek out that deal and fight people and get stampeded
Yeah.
and all of that because I would never partake in that. Um, Now that a lot of it is online, I was like, "Quick, Christmas list, quick," because I was looking at the deals, and I mean, whatever you need to buy, if you need cat food, if you need
Yeah.
shampoo, buy it last during that week of Black
Yes.
Friday, Cyber Monday. I cannot believe so I bought most of my Christmas shopping. I sat there on the computer, free shipping, everything's half off. I was like, this is amazing. So,
It is.
I was really, really thrilled about that. And I had just never done that before. So that's going to be a new thing. I'm going to everybody have your Christmas list ready by Thanksgiving so that
Yes.
I can wake up and get to work on that because it's no standing in lines. I don't know how you beat it. And you really do get deals. Like deals.
Yes.
Like
Oh, I
my
did the same
daughter
thing.
my daughter got stuff that she would have not gotten if it wasn't for
Yeah.
the sales, she
Yeah.
likes all those expensive products. I was like, $50 for an eyebrow pencil? I don't think so. And then I go online, 50% off,
Yep.
25 bucks? Sure, you can have that.
Yep.
So,
Right in the stocking.
yeah,
Yep.
I thought it was amazing. Good
It
stuff out
is.
there to be had. Yeah.
It has changed so much when it's funny when you talk about shopping like that because all those morning news shows always have those cameras outside of Best Buy, Walmart, whatever, and you see those people stampeding in, and then when they're showing them on the news this year, you're seeing 3 people walk through the door. People are
Right.
doing what you're doing. They're doing it. They're
Right.
shopping
Well, I
from their
think that
computer.
right. I think the pandemic just put a nail in that coffin of like,
Yep.
let's quit acting like idiots. Let's use
Exactly.
technology. And the other thing with doing it in person is you have to go store to store, which
Yep.
let's face it, this is going to take you all day. On the
Exactly.
internet, I can browse 10 shops in an hour and we're good to go. So, yeah, that my sister used to do that, line up in those lines, and I was like, "What is wrong with you?" And I
Y-
mean, I get it if you want a specific TV at Best Buy or
Yeah.
whatever it is. I kind of would get that part, but nope. My daughter got the headphones she wanted. we,
Perfect.
half off. I was like, "This is amazing." I mean, Beats by Dre half off. Who says no to
Yeah.
that?
No, that's a great deal. Great deal.
Yeah,
It's
great deal.
yeah, no, it's one of those where I used to take my nieces when they were little, like 12 and 8 years old. and they would say, "Uncle Dave, you're gonna take me to the mall. My parents won't take me on Friday morning." I go, "What time do you want to go?" 5 in the morning.
Oh.
And I kind of missed that time, but they're older now anyway. They wouldn't hang out with me, but I was the only family member that was willing to fight with them because they wanted to go. So I said, "Yeah, absolutely, I'm going." But yeah, nowadays, no desire to get in a push and match. And then, as you said, you take up your entire day to buy 3 things were online. I did almost all my shopping yesterday in 1 hour. Done.
Yeah, done.
Yeah. As you
Done.
said, free
And then
shipping.
the things that, like, were not on sale and were gonna charge shipping, I was like, "Meh, I'll wait now until, like, a early morning weekday, and I'll go into that store when there's nobody there yet and pick
Exactly.
those things up." I mean, it's kinda magical. It was a game changer.
It is. It
Total
is. It is.
game changer. And
It is.
speaking of good deals, I've got a product alert.
Okay,
Um,
good.
okay, I spend a lot of money on cleansers and moisturizers. It's just who I am. I can't help it. I always think, um, the better, like the more expensive, the better. But a lot like this is why I promote a lot of stuff you can get at CVS and Walgreens and all these like easy stores because these other products are really stepping up to the plate. Now I always hear great things about CeraVe. And whenever I look at it, it comes in these big things and it's cheap. It's $15 for like the largest size. And I'm always like, yeah, probably not. And I never pulled the trigger. Well, they came out with a new oil cleanser, which it's the rage right now. I used to be somebody who always exfoliated every morning because to get into the pores, I always feel like I'm not clean unless I do that. And oil cleansers are proving that they clean the pores better, which to me is mind-boggling, but it is what it is. So they came out with this. It's the CeraVe,
Oh,
and it was sold out at my CVS. And I took the display. I took the
good
My
for you.
daughter goes, "How did you get that?" And I was like, "Well, I took the little box off. I took the product out, I put the box on." And the lady who runs that department saw me walking around with it, but they know me, so she probably
Yeah.
did not care. And I had a coupon for like 40% off. And then anybody that shops at CVS, you know what I'm talking about. You get those 40%
Yeah.
coupons and you're like, I gotta go buy something. And then I had like rewards dollars. So I ended up getting it for $10, but it's $14.95
Good
for the
deal.
value size. That's the big one. And I even like put some in a little thing for my daughter in her bathroom. So it's enough. This is going to last me forever. And I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm loving it because you only need like a little tiny drop out of this whole thing. But I, people are not kidding about the CeraVe. It is really it's really it. It's got the hyaluronic acid in it and the squalene that everybody is the ceramides, everything that everybody's raving about. They've got it in there and it just feels great. I love it. And I'm picky. I'm picky about my moisturizer. So that is something that I would give a big thumbs up to give a shot.
I'm glad you share it because people ask all the time. What do people in Hollywood use? How does their skin always look so good? What's going on? Why do people who are actors, why do they look younger? You always hear those questions all the time. It's one of those things where, look, I've never been in a movie in my life, but I'm always concerned about looking older. I have that fear. If I look around, I'm like, man, that guy looks kind of old. I saw a guy at a comedy show last week, and he had a giant white beard. And when he announced his age, he was a year younger than me, and he had no hair, and his face looked bad. And I'm like, what did he do different than me? Was it because he drinks a lot? Does he smoke a lot? Does he not put anything on his face? All that stuff. But yeah, I do have that fear of being that guy that, man, what happened to you? Like, you don't want to be the person that leaves the room and people go, what happened to that guy's fucking face?
Yeah.
you know?
Well, I think you can age and still look healthy. So like, okay,
I
you
agree.
might look old, but you look healthy and you look good, like you can glow. Yeah, there's some people that have that like dull, like they've got 3 layers of skin they need to shed,
Yeah.
or they need to drink a big gallon of water and put some moisturizer on. That's never good. And that usually is a diet and a product issue. The aging thing, and especially with you guys, you look better when you get older, and you guys lucked out in that area. But
Yeah. We look terrible
yeah,
at 13, though.
I
It finally came around. Yeah.
well, well, I think moms also maybe didn't used to teach boys about
You're right.
products, right? So,
100%.
they just, like, put soap on their face maybe, or, like, I see sometimes, like, guys will just splash water on your face. You're like, "What are you doing? There's so much bad stuff in that water you just splashed on your skin, and you're leaving it there." So, I think that, these days men are understanding that there's, like, it's not a girly thing, it's a lifestyle thing, and products are fun, and they make you feel good. 'Cause I've
You know,
always had
you
good skin, like, so
yeah,
people could sit there and go, "Yeah, whatever, Nicole," because I always had good skin, but it is also about a feeling, right? So, like, it's
yeah.
about the products and the combinations and how it feels on your skin when you walk out of the house. It's a big deal.
I know, I agree. Okay, so here's what I find interesting, and I always wondered, I go, what happened when you look back even at TV shows, let's say in the 70s, like you and I talk about the Mary Tyler Moore Show, and you look at like Lou Grant, who was, in his early 40s, but nowadays he would look like a guy in his 60s. Red Fox, when he was on Sanford and Son, was like 48 years old. And all these guys look so much older. And my theory is just what you said exactly about guys, how they wash their face. And, you know, I hate to say it, I think there was a lot of homophobe stuff of saying, how dare you put moisturizer? Like if you're a man and you put moisturizer in your face in the 70s or 80s, your friends would have given you a hard time. People would have given you a hard time for not being man enough. You don't need all that. Just take a, Irish Spring or whatever, put it on your face and walk out the door. But
Yeah.
I think you're right. I mean, you have to take care of your skin, and you're seeing more and more men. And even my son, man, he's really concerned about what he puts on his face.
Yeah. And because people are realizing all the horrible ingredients that have been in so
Yeah,
many products, but we've evolved into a time where when people say like, "Why do those celebrities look so good for their age?" It's because they're going and getting special facials and getting things put on their face and procedures done and all of that good stuff. But now, like I said, like the CeraVes are putting that stuff in their products. They're like, "Why not?" They're getting on board,
exactly.
and I don't know if it's probably become more cost effective for them to do that instead of filling it with chemicals. I don't know. But yes, it makes a difference. All you see all these young kids really like caring about their products and I encourage it because I remember dating a guy in my early 20s and he was the product queen. I mean, his bathroom was lined up with products. And I was like, I have never in my life. And I would take he had beautiful big steam shower. I would take the steam and then use the products, and I've been hooked ever since. Like, my own mom didn't even teach me that kinda stuff. I learned
Yeah.
it from my boyfriend. So, shout out to Nick Adler, who knew
Oh, that's
all the
funny.
latest, greatest products and, got me caring about that kinda stuff. So, and he looks great too. So, it does matter. It really does matter.
Yeah, I think it's changed a lot. Like I could see, I can't imagine 40 years ago, woman buying skincare products for the husband for Christmas, whereas today it would be like, that's normal. That makes sense. It is very, very strange, but we've come a long way. We've talked about all the time you spent in the sun and how you take care of your skin and everything else. But one question I have though, speaking of skin and secrets of Hollywood, when you went through, different makeup artists, everything else, did they give you tips of how to take care of your skin? Like, did you learn from them on, hey, this is the process we use, or go, how
Yeah.
come I look better in this chair than I do at the chair at my house? That kind of deal.
Yeah, I mean, because every makeup artist has such a different with hair as well, they all have such a different regimen and a different routine and different, like, techniques, and you learn a lot. I mean, I have learned so much, but also everything changes over the years,
Yep.
but, it's always great because 'cause they'll tell you, "Well, this is what shade I use," if you ask them. They'll tell you this is the brand, this is the shade. Usually you talk about it before you do it, but I'm always like, you do your thing. I want to see what you do. They're an artist for a reason. And so I'm
Yep.
usually not a difficult client unless I come out looking like crazy. And I ask for adjustments, but I like to let people do their work, and see what they do so that you don't look exactly the same every time either. But yeah, you get all the like greatest little products and it's sort of like it's like the whole theory of like when you go to the department store or Sephora. Sephora offers it now where they'll apply different products on you so you can see it, and they'll help you pick your shade and tell you, which products are good for what. So we've come a long way. We have come a long way since Mary Kay.
What is the longest you've ever spent in a makeup chair? Like you always hear these stories, like with Mandy Moore when she was doing This Is Us, that she was in that chair for like 10 hours. Like, what is the longest you've ever had to sit in a makeup chair? What was a normal time for you?
A normal time for me is with hair and makeup and we're goofing around and not like rushing. It's probably a 2-hour process just for like a normal look. I did a movie called The Demolitionist, and we did prosthetics.
Yeah.
And I mean, you want to talk about 4 hours on and like 3 hours to get off.
Did you just want to die? I mean, I can't imagine sitting there for 7 hours doing that.
Wanting to die. And the first time it's fun, right? And then
Yeah.
you're doing, and you're kind of off the clock.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that part. You're kind of off the clock on that. And when they're taking the prosthetics off, okay, first of all, wearing prosthetics is difficult. If anybody that's done it knows what I'm talking about. Like a full face of prosthetics is rough. That glue and having foam over your skin, you can't breathe, you can't sweat, you can't scratch and itch, you can't do anything. Taking it off, you're like, what are you putting on my skin? There's just the smell of it, this is bad. They're trying to be so gentle with their brush and their glue remover, but this is doing damage to your skin. So it's like, it's psychologically stressful, it's physically stressful to sit there. So to do that a lot, that's hectic. But that was full. It was a full face and neck thing. So when they do just little ones and stuff, it's not quite that bad. It's kind of fun. But yeah, I would say it was like 4 hours, probably 6 hours on and off to get on and off total. Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot out of your day. That's a long.
Listen, don't forget they put the prosthetics on, and then they've got to do all the makeup over that. It's a lot. It's more than people realize. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. No, that would be something that I understand. You're in a movie and you get paid well, but it would not be my first choice for sure. That's a lot. Unbelievable. All right, so I got to ask you, as we mentioned, touch on for a second with the holidays. Is Christmas one of your favorite holidays?
I really like the lead up to Christmas. I think that, Christmas is fun. It's fun with kids again.
Exactly.
When you have kids, it's fun to see them happy. I love all the lights. I love the cooler weather. And it's so funny because yes, it's really cooling off at night, but I kind of forgot like how much, and I sleep with the windows like wide open. And it's like it's a refrigerator. Freezing. No joke. It's a refrigerator.
It's in the 50s where, and again, if you don't live in California,
where I live, it's like it's in the 40s. Okay. And I think
40s in California is like 20s everywhere else. I'm telling you, it's colder.
It's cool. Yeah. But like, this is how spoiled we are. My little cat, who sometimes makes a cameo. Is she here today?
She's behind that pillow.
She's back there. She's behind the pillow. That's Nancy, for all of you who don't know, from the duo of Sid and Nancy. Her brother is Sid, and anybody that's familiar with the Sex Pistols knows exactly who Sid and Nancy are. She caught a cold. Looking at her last night, and I kept wondering, I was like, she's being so lovey. She's freezing. My poor cat is freezing.
Oh my God.
So I'm like, okay, I've got to like chill out on all the windows open. I closed them last night and I was like, okay, I'm sorry. I apologize to everybody. But I love it. I love it when I sleep better like that, when it's freezing and I'm like in big blankets. I love that so much. But so I love that about the winter because it's so short here. And I just love, I'm a sucker for driving around and looking at all the lights and people's decorations and stuff like that. I really am. So that's something we do every year. And people really go all out. So it's fun. People like, you tune your radio to it. A neighbor over here does, a couple neighbors do that, where you tune in the lights, do the light show with the music. It's so fun. I think that's just, I love that stuff.
Do you remember? I do. It's okay. So my Christmas story is I was raised in a Jewish household, so we didn't have Christmas, and we had Jewish friends that would do the Christmas tree and celebrate Christmas, but my mom wouldn't go for it, so it sucked. I missed out all these years. Like, and I was so bummed out. Like, it was Christmas morning, knowing my friend down the street was just opening gifts and having a great time. And you're watching all the Christmas movies and the Christmas specials. I loved Rudolph. I loved all that stuff. And I was always kind of bummed out. Well, then I married someone who wasn't Jewish. Fantastic. I'm all in for Christmas. Except when I'm on that goddamn ladder putting lights up on the house, and then I yell out to the whole neighborhood, I should have married someone that was Jewish. But I love it, and I'm so over the top. Where if you're my kid, man, I buy a ton of stuff, and I always have. I'll find stuff in March that I forgot to give that I was hiding in the house somewhere. Like, oh my god, this was supposed to happen in Christmas time. But I am over the top Christmas guy. I love it. I love the lights. I love the tree, and I don't buy the fresh tree. I have the tree that pops out of the box, and it's perfect. It's like 12 feet high, but it's awesome. I love everything about it. And it's funny, my sister recently just married someone that wasn't Jewish, and she's like, this is the best ever. I said, it is become the greatest holiday, and maybe because we felt we missed out, but man, it lived up to the hype. I can't tell you how much I enjoy it.
It lived up to the hype.
It did.
Yeah. Christmas, like, as a little kid, was always amazing. My parents, and I did this for my kids too. My parents, my mom, and now I realize it's because she didn't want me to wake her up. But she would the wrapped gifts under the tree were for family and friends.
Okay.
And I think this is also how she kept me believing in Santa. And Christmas morning, I would wake up and there'd be a huge Santa sack next to my bed full of unwrapped toys. So there'd be this big sack. So you'd wake up and it would be next to your bed, and Santa left it there for you. And then you would just wake up and start going through it, So I thought I loved, as a kid, that was like my favorite thing in the whole wide world. And I sort of hated the under the tree gifts because my mom always had this. She bought you what she wanted you to have. But she wanted the reaction.
Socks. Yeah.
She wanted the reaction that, how excited about it she was, and you couldn't always give that reaction. Whereas the stuff in the Santa sack, it was toys you asked for.
Exactly.
Under the tree was a lot of clothes of the way she was going to dress you for the next year.
That is funny. That is funny. All right. Yeah. So having kids, and obviously, one's much older than the other, meaning she's an adult. The other one's not an adult. What is the right age to tell your child the truth about Santa? I'm always afraid of how I phrase this because I've screwed this up in morning radio in the car. But I think in this show, I don't think anyone's watching your show with the kids. But what is the right age?
Well, that's always such a funny thing. And you kind of feel like they start picking up on it. They start hearing it. And then I think it's the kids at school. So Keegan found out at camp. She was at a sleepaway camp with our neighbor, and the neighbor broke it to the entire group of girls.
Oh, my gosh.
But I mean, it's sort of like, I guess that's the best way for them to find out because, and so she came home and she's like, is this true? And, you just start going through the whole thing about, it's a spirit. The thing about Christmas, it's supposed to be like Christmas spirit, and Santa is about giving, not receiving. And, so you keep that alive, and she took it well. Like, she didn't take it bad at all. I'll tell you, when I found out, when I was a kid and I found out it wasn't, I lied. I faked it. That I thought that there was still Santa Claus.
For how long?
Like 2 years, until my mom finally was like, I don't believe you anymore. I was like, all right. But I wanted to still get that Santa sack.
Right? Oh yeah, no kidding. You had a lot invested in this thing. Yeah. The sack might disappear. I didn't even think about that. You're right. Good for you.
Yeah, good. I still believed. Yeah.
Good for you. Do you have a Christmas in your mind where you go, that was the best Christmas ever?
I think there's been a few, because for me personally, it was, waking up and finding all those toys in that. It was like a red brick bag, patterned bag, and then getting to do that for my kids, getting to do that for my first daughter and seeing her reactions. And you see their little butt sticking out of the bag because they're like crawling into the back of the sack, and you just see their little feet and their little butt sticking out. And then years and years later, getting to do it again for my little one, those are my favorite moments, is just seeing them thinking that, Santa dropped this bag. And my daughter, my youngest, said to me, and they both feel this way, but she's like, "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry that my Christmas list was so long and you were having to buy all of that all this time."
Oh,
It's
that's
like,
funny.
it's funny, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so, because now that they know the cost of things. And
Oh, yeah.
yeah, my little one said to me the other day when she was making her list, she's like, "I feel kind of bad. It's kind of long." I was like, "Well, it doesn't mean you're going to get everything on it, but give it to me." And it wasn't anything crazy. And it's just like, I love that. That's also something I love about it, is that she's like realizing, like, we were so spoiled, we were so fortunate, we were so lucky and privileged, and but that spirit is still there. It's not like Christmas is any less fun for her. She's still so
Yes.
excited about it. So
No, it's
I think as
awesome.
long as you keep the gratitude part going and that you make it more about the spirit and not the gifts,
I
you
was
know.
I was thinking about this as you were just talking. At what age is it more fun to give than to receive? Like when you're a kid and you talk about that sack next to the bed, like you're a kid, you're like, what's in it for me? But as you get older, it's all about, I'm going to give a gift just to look at their faces and see the joy of they got what they wanted. You really don't care what you get in return. Like I can almost bet you don't care what either one of your daughters get you for Christmas.
No. No, in
Yeah.
fact, I am that old cliche saying, it's like, "Just give me your time." That's all I
Yeah.
want. I want you to save your money, and I want you to just give me time. That's it. I just
That's
wanna
cool.
see your smiling face, and, I wanna see you happy. Save your money. I don't need anything, because it doesn't make me happy.
Yeah.
Like, the truth is, getting a gift like that doesn't I feel bad that they spent any money on it. Um, and so it's like, I think, like, for my little one, she wants to know what I want, and she's like, "But I can finally," because I felt so bad for her all these years, because she'd always wanna get me something, but there was nobody to take her to
Oh,
the store to get me something.
yeah.
So I would have to take her and then, like, separate from her at the mall, and I think it took a little bit of fun out of it for her. She's still excited she got to get me something, but it was like, I was there, gave her my card, and I walked away, and I knew where she was going. So,
Yeah.
this year she said to me, "Tell me," because she was going to the mall with her friend, and she said, "Tell me what you want, because I can finally get you
I
something."
love
And
it.
I thought that that was, like, so sweet. That just melted my heart, my
It is.
cold heart. Yeah. Yeah.
That's great. So Christmas time this year, both daughters together, or you only have one daughter visiting you?
No, I'll just have Keegan, because I just saw Dylan. So, and Dylan's at that age too. She's like, "Do we really do gifts, because the shipping, and all this?" And I'm like, "Don't save your money. Definitely
Yes,
save the money." Um, yeah, it's not about that. I'd rather have like a FaceTime on Christmas morning,
exactly. Yep.
a
Oh
good
no.
long FaceTime.
Oh, absolutely. No, I'm with you on that whole deal. All right. So TV wise, is there anything you're watching right now that you want to share? That you go, okay, this is what you'd recommend.
Um, well, I am watching. What is so good is Real Housewives of Potomac.
Oh my
That
God, everybody
show
keeps telling me that. They
that
said you
show
were missing
stepped
out.
it up this year. And, also Married to Medicine. Married to Medicine came back strong this season, and they have Phaedra Parks now, who's just, I mean, I can't take my eyes off of her. She is, just a character. Um, so I really love both those, Potomac and Married to Medicine. What else am I watching?
Everyone's telling me to watch Potomac. Said I've been missing out.
Oh yeah, it's good. It's good, it's good, it's good. And I've been watching all the 90-day stuff. They've got some it's actually really good. This week's episodes were great. 90 Days the Other Way and 90 Day
Yes.
Fiancé. Oh my god, those, I mean, you just want to just sit there with your jaw on the ground at people. Those are the shows.
It's, those are on my house all the time. All the time when I walk in the house, my wife's
What,
watching
the
those all
90
the
days?
time. Yes,
Your
all the
wife
time.
watches that?
Yes, yep. She won't
Yeah,
do
they're good.
the housewife stuff with me, but she always has it on all the time. It's always on. But the Potomac one, I have so many neighbors that are asking, "Are you watching that?" I said, I don't have time." And they go,
Yeah.
"Forget everything else. You got to jump on this one. This is what
Yeah.
you and you got to catch up. Everyone keeps telling me, but it's so funny that you just said that.
Yeah.
So I
And
guess that's what I'll
also
be doing.
Below Deck Med, I'm watching that because Kyle's back, and he is just the shitster of shitsters. But he's one of those personalities who's so funny and so witty. And on the other side of that, he's so dark and can be really punch people in the face. So Below Deck Med too. That's a good season. Having him on is always a plus for me. He's hilarious. But yes, definitely watch Potomac. Oh my God.
All
Oh
right,
my
I got to
lord.
get it.
Yeah.
I got to catch up. I got to catch up. There's a lot of things going on that I got to catch up, and then the new stuff that will start coming up. I'm gonna start losing some sleep here coming up.
I know, for real. And I can't wait for Yellowstone to start. I just like, where is it? Where is it?
Yeah,
I
when's it
need it.
going?
I don't
When's it
know.
supposed to start up?
I'm not sure because I think everything got like topsy-turvy there, right? So I'm not
Yeah,
sure, and I haven't taken the time to look, but I mean, we'll know because the commercials will come out. But
exactly. I hope
yeah,
it comes back good because
me
when it
too.
stopped, it was dragging. It was going, man. Let's go, let's go.
A
You
little
know.
bit, yeah. Yeah, but I could
So
sit there
no.
and stare at Kevin Costner all day. He doesn't even have to do anything. He can just like ride around on his horse and I'll watch.
So okay, it's funny. We might have had this conversation. I'm not sure if we had this conversation on camera or off camera, but Kevin Costner for me was always every time I see him in anything, I just go, it's Kevin Costner. You know what I mean? I can't shake that's the guy from for me the baseball movies, Field of Dreams, Bull Durham, whatever, Dances with Wolves. It's the same guy every time, and I used to get frustrated. But in Yellowstone, I honestly believe this is his best work.
Yeah. See,
You
I'm
agree?
telling you, men age like they age so well.
Yeah,
Like I think we fell in love with him in The Bodyguard, right? But that was like because he's handsome and
yeah,
this and that. And then yeah, he's a decent actor, but Yellowstone, yeah, it's like it was made for him. Like this is
I
this is
agree.
his perfect fit. This is his jam right now.
Yeah.
He's so good. He looks so good as a cowboy, and yeah, it's just so believable.
When you watch that show, like they say real estate's gone up like crazy in Montana. Like
Yeah.
when you watch that show, do you go, I got to go to Montana? Like, do you feel like everyone else that says that,
Yes.
or yes,
Yes, I wanna see it, but I mean, I've always wanted to really kind of explore it, but who knew anybody out there? Now, people have property out there. There's a
yes,
good chance you have a friend with some property out there. So, yeah, it's amazing. So that's another reason why Yellowstone is so good though, too, because it's so relevant. It's cowboy stuff, but it's relevant as to what's going on today in gentrification and all of that. So, um, love it.
love it. There you go. Good. All right. Yes, I'm looking forward to it coming back as well. I'm gonna guess. I have no idea, but I'm gonna guess around the time the Super Bowl comes around in February, you're gonna start seeing, boom, it's gonna. That's when we're gonna see it back. I don't know why. Again, they dragged the season. People keep telling me, and you would know better than me, that when they put this show together, it started at one thing, and now for the people who build the show, they're trying to make every episode like movie quality, and that's why
Uh,
it's moving slower than it is now. To me, I don't know what they have in the can and how it works before the strike, anything else, but I hope when it comes back as good as it was. I was disappointed in the first half season of this season,
of the
just on the
latest
pace.
season.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just the pace.
Well, you figure like every show can't be great
Yeah.
it's got to go up and down. And but that's like life, right? If it was so great every time, it'd probably be boring too. Yeah, it's going to go up and down, but yeah, I mean there's a lot of inks waiting for this and a lot of expectation, so I hope it delivers too.
Me too. All right, let's
Yeah.
get to your mailbag. Again, you want to ask Nicole a question, all you have to do is go to the website, perfectlytwistedpod.com, and then you can ask her a question. Again, this week's questions comes from Denise H. It says, Nicole, have you ever had a dream car? You mentioned before that you're a car person.
Oh. Well, I have a lot of dream cars. They change a lot. But where I live, there's a lot of car enthusiasts. And
Yep.
I see this guy driving around, and every time me and Keegan go, I don't know what year it is, but it's gotta be a 60 something, like a late 60s Cadillac
Oh, wow.
convertible. This thing is like a bus, right?
Yeah.
And he has it painted this beautiful like rose gold. And me and Keegan are just like, that should be us. That we should be driving that car.
That should be us.
That should be us. We should
Love it.
be in that car. I like old cars, and you know what I really, really love, which I saw the other day, and I was like, an 80 like Porsche Carrera.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw one in that classic like yellow tan color,
Oh my God.
and
My
this
dad had
guy
that
was
car.
driving it, and it
Same
must
color,
huh?
everything. My
You
dad
had
had
it?
the exact same car. No,
Oh,
I didn't. My dad
that
had it.
car
Yellow
right
though.
now is so cool. I saw a guy driving it, had original plates on it, so it must have been in his garage parked somewhere forever. It was pristine. You could tell it was original. I mean, I was like, I almost was following him. I almost missed my turn because I couldn't take my eyes off his damn car. Yeah, I love an old Porsche and I love a Cadillac.
You know what's funny about the Cadillac is it's so hard to drive in LA with, all the cars now are smaller than back in the day when people had cars that size. Parking places are a lot smaller too. Like just going to the grocery store is insane.
Yeah.
But it's driving in LA is tough because a lot of times there are cars parked on both sides of the street. If you're in a residential neighborhood and two cars that come the same way, one car kind of has to give way. But you're in a Cadillac, that's where you're giving way
Yeah.
to. That's a big car. You know what I always think about with those cars too? You'll remember this when you're a kid. And if you're around our age, you'll remember this. Cadillacs had them, but do you remember when people would parallel park, you get close to the side? They had that metal rod that stuck out of the back that would let you
Yeah.
know how close you were.
Yeah. I
And
think those need to come back.
yeah, me too.
I
Me
think
too.
those need to
People
come
are
back.
jacking up their rims all the time.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, my side from my daughter learning how to drive. Oh my God, the rims are just crunched. Like what? But also with those cars, you can't really like take that to the market. I mean,
No.
because it's like not only that, other people are assholes with the leaving the shopping carts, opening their doors, parking too close. All of this, it's like, nobody's respectful of stuff. So it's like a car like that, you kind of have to take on a drive and just like
Yeah.
drive around and go some mellow places because yeah, I think the city does more damage to the car than
True.
you do to the car. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I love the
But
fact that your daughter appreciates it. That's pretty cool.
oh yeah, she loves old cars too. She's just like me. She loves a classic car. So
Oh, that's cool.
yeah.
Okay. Next question is, Nicole, you look great, but in your opinion, what is your perfect age? What was your perfect age, or what is your perfect age?
Well, I mean, if we're talking looks or inner self, I mean, I think the perfect age is when you're young and you don't know anything about the real world.
Yeah. I do too.
Like when you're just starting out and you're fearless and like you don't think about bills and you don't think about future, you don't think about anything except that day. I miss
Yep.
those days. Those were golden. Like that's just so golden to be. You have your freedom, you can do whatever you want. You don't have a curfew, all of these things and you're just not stressed out by life. But as far as like the whole package of looking good, feeling good, kind of getting the hang of life for me was in the 30s. I'd say 35 to 40 was prime
Yep.
because I had my child, which made me health conscious and body conscious and all of that. So I was working out and feeling good and looking good and had some sense about me, somewhere.
It's funny when you mentioned being young, and the old saying of the youth is wasted on the young. But when you think about like looking ahead and planning ahead, there's no planning ahead. If you can think to Friday, that was a big step. Like there's no, what are you doing in 2 weeks? What are you doing Friday? What are you doing Saturday? And you're right. You're just flying by the seat of your pants, having a great time.
Yeah. Yeah, it was,
Oh
what are
my
we doing
gosh.
in an hour? And then your plans would totally change. I remember driving, I was with my friend and we were driving, we were going to go to we were going to go to the outlet stores and go shopping. And we were talking and talking and talking and driving and we like made a stop at the DMV and I like took my picture for my license. Going to the DMV would be like a whole day thing for me now. So we stopped at the DMV and we're driving and I took the wrong freeway and we were out in Valencia and we were like, well, let's go to Magic Mountain. And I remember that day so
Dude,
clearly
how
and it
great
was
is
just
that?
like we just pivoted, we just were like, oh, change plans. Whereas, today that would be a little bit more stressful.
Do you remember when you and your friends got your driver's license and you could just go wherever you want without even thinking? I mean, it felt like you grew up 10 years.
Yeah, well, for me, I was working, so it was like I finally get to drive to work instead of having to walk or, like, catch rides. But I was driving illegally there for a minute. Um, I got my car a little early, but I wasn't going very far, so it was like, are they really gonna
You
find
willing
out?
to
Are they
take
really
that
gonna catch
chance?
me?
Oh,
Huh?
they
Yeah,
will if you get in an accident, they will.
I know, but I was really only driving a couple blocks because I was working at Universal. I was living in Studio City, Universal City. I was living right there. I mean, it was walking distance, so driving was okay, but
Even that had to feel kind of cool that you were driving when you shouldn't have been driving,
yeah.
going, I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
Yeah, it was also a little bit terrifying too. If I'm being honest, it was a little bit like they put me behind the wheel and, kids these days, if you're noticing, they don't wanna drive. Kids don't wanna
A
they're
lot
not
of them don't.
excited to get their driver's license anymore. They would rather ride share. They'd rather,
Yep.
ask for a ride, take the bus, take the train, and, I love that because I respect that. Because driving is no easy task these days. It is flipping scary, and people
Especially in
drive
LA.
like every street is a highway. It's like, "Where are you going?" And I'm gonna see you at the next red light. It's a given. It is. You just put everybody's life in danger. You just burn so much gas. Now you're slamming on your brakes. You're an idiot, but they're everywhere. Before, I used to see one, like, here and there. Now it's like every other car is a maniac, and,
Yeah.
at least here in LA. It's absolutely insane. So, this morning taking in carpool, I had to slam on my brakes so hard because someone just came speeding down this, residential street, and I'm like, "Oh, my lord." Like, it's just I don't know. It's scary, actually, and I kind of am like, "Are you just getting old?" But the truth is the driving is scary.
Yeah. No, learning to drive in LA is no joke either. It's extremely
No,
tough.
it's true.
Yeah. It's extremely tough. Okay. So here's a question that I've always wondered about. Is it true that the DMV has a special entrance for people who are public figures?
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. Damn it. How do you get on that list? Like, how do you tell them ahead of time? Like, how does that work? Because you always wonder, like, it's hard to believe, Bradley Cooper standing in line at the DMV in Culver City. You know what I mean? Like, it would be a nightmare for him.
Yeah, I never had anybody call ahead for me, but I imagine quite well. Yeah, you can go in, like, before and after hours if you can find somebody that would do it. I know they do that. Um, for me, a lot of times people always complain about DMV, employees, but I used to have a lot of them that would let me just go to the front of the line and say, "You don't have to wait, just come back," and, you know
Because
and
yeah,
especially back
because
in the
you're
day,
you.
people were so
Yeah.
much more kind. People
Yeah.
were like
Because
people
you're,
were in a
hold
better
on.
mood. Huh?
Wait, hold on. They were nice because it was you.
Right,
With
that's what
me,
I'm
it
saying.
would be like, yeah, I know. But for me, it's like, where do you think you're going, asshole?
Yeah.
Back there. For
Right.
you, you're like,
No, they would
oh, you're
that's
so
what I'm saying.
nice.
You're saying did celebrities get, a
Yes.
private Yes, I would get to cut the line quite a bit, but I feel like people were in a much better mood and they were more excited to see people back in the '80s and '90s. Now nobody gives a shit. Everybody's an asshole. Get to the back of the line. But I mean, I think it was an episode of The Kardashians, and she needed to get her license picture, and they went in after hours, and they did a whole photo shoot. She had her glam team,
Oh,
and
wow.
yeah, and they did the whole thing, and then they were looking and then retaking, and, like, they had people in the back her people in the back looking at the pictures and saying, "Okay, take a few more." It's like ah, part of me is, like, in awe of that. The other part of me is like, "Who cares that much?" Like, she's gonna look fantastic even if it's,
Yes,
like, her eyes are closed. She's gonna look great anyway, so, like, who cares? But, I thought that was kind of hilarious. She's
that
doing
is
it just
funny.
because she can, I bet,
Of
but,
course. Of course.
yeah.
All right. Next question on here. What is your proudest moment from being a mom?
Um, God. I mean, I'm proud every day. I don't know. I'm proud. I every time I see them say something that's, like, so reasonable or so, like, empathetic or, like, and it's hard for me to take pride in it because I don't think that it's me that made them that way. They're their own people. Let's face it, people are
You don't think they
born their
learn
own.
from watching you?
I mean, yeah, to an extent, of course, right? You're a product of your environment to an extent, but it's like, it's not like I'm some like amazing, perfect role model. Let's face it, I'm not. I'm a single mom that struggles too and like gets stressed out and we have ups and downs. So I don't know, but every time I see them being so sensible or so much more emotionally mature than I ever was, and sometimes I'm
Yeah.
like, wait, are they more emotionally mature than I am right now? I think that makes me really smile inside because I'm like, they're gonna be okay. They're gonna be okay because they're on the right track. And it's funny because my little one can be so considerate and so empathetic and so that sometimes she doesn't speak up for herself enough. So it's like, and we really don't like selfish people or like
Yeah.
people who are not respectful of like your time and your plans and people who just think about themselves. And she points it out with other people a lot. And but there's something to being a little bit selfish and putting yourself first a bit because somehow life works out better for those people. So part of me wants to like get her to start putting herself first a little bit more, but it's always good to know. And when other parents say, "Man, there's such a good kid, like such a nice, kind kid," things like that, or like we were in the mall the other day and a girl, the sweet girl behind us, taps my daughter on the shoulder and she's like, "I really like your outfit." And she was like, "Thank you." And then when we left, she goes, "That really made me feel good that she said that."
Cool.
And I was like,
That's awesome.
that is awesome because a lot of times, and then because two other girls walked by my daughter and like laughed at, like snickered at her. And so she had these two different experiences in the same store, but she
Yeah.
walked away talking about them both. But I was like, at least she's like recognizing it and she's vocalizing it and she's like in touch with it. So, you
Yeah.
know, I said, and look at the two different types of girls that they were who said
Yep.
these things to you. And, eh, the two that were snotty were in the mall alone, all dressed what they call preppy now, which to me is slutty. And and then the other girl was with like her mom and her sister, and they were in line with all their clothes and like all their stuff that they were buying on sale. And I was like, look at you know, the two different audiences you had in that store, and you do
Yeah.
the math on that because who do you care about more, and who do you think is in a healthier in a healthier state of mind?
Exactly.
The girls wearing the tiny crop tops and the short skirts or, the girl in the pajamas like us, behind us, like,
That's funny. All right. No,
yeah.
I'm with you. Yeah, it's great when you're a parent. You go, you know what? My kids make me proud every day. It's a great answer.
Yeah.
All right. Next question. Nicole, if you had one day all to yourself, what would be your perfect day?
Um, I think I would go to I would have to be the spa. I love a good Korean spa. There's one here in LA called We Spa, and I mean,
Uh-huh.
I could spend 2 days in there. Um, and they've got all the rooms with like the clay balls that you go
Yeah.
lay in, like if you can get in there and that like forms to your body. And then they've got like the jade floors and the wooden hot floors, and you go lay on the floor in all these rooms with different temperatures, and then they've got like the hot baths and the cold plunges, and then they do the whole full body exfoliation. They like chop up cucumbers and put it all over your face. Like I love a Korean spa.
There you go. You know what?
I
I've never experienced one, but that's
Oh my
interesting.
god. It's it is it is so good. It's so good. And a lot of them for the men too, they have like driving ranges or they're huge here. And like We Spa is a huge complex, and then they always have a kitchen where you can go get like healthy food and take a break.
Yeah.
And then you go back. It is, and it's not crazy expensive. It's one of the better things in life, in my opinion.
There you go.
Besides the beach. The beach and the Korean spa, I'm in heaven.
There you go. All right, last question from Denise H. Nicole, what is your number one turn off in a man?
Um, I think narcissism, that's a given, but it's rampant these days. I don't know what caused that
Yeah.
in people, but there's so much narcissism. It's shocking. And I think vanity in a guy is weird. Like over grooming is strange for me. I can't go there. If you're over groomed, it's strange. And the smell, there's something about a smell. You
You
could
mean
be all the
body
right
odor
things and
smell
then you smell strange. Oh my gosh.
or
So I don't
sour?
like
Like I don't know what it is with guys, but a lot of guys they sweat
stink.
terribly. They smell,
The
yeah, they smell bad, either a musk smell or a sour smell. The
And then
sour
they try
smell I
to
think is
cover
even
it with
worse.
cologne, right? Then there's all this
Yeah,
cologne on top of it, and it smells to me like somebody took a poop in the bathroom and sprayed cologne everywhere.
yeah,
That's what a lot of men smell like, and I'm like,
yeah,
"Are you eating bad? Are you over drinking? Like,
yeah.
what is coming out of your pores that stinks like that?"
You know what?
Sorry,
I
guys.
No, 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 you're right on. Trust me. I again, I coach young men from, age 8 to 18, and I'm like, God dang, some of these kids, holy cow. Like you'll
Well,
feel
that's
bad for them
hormones.
because yeah, that's but I'm like, oh my God, like I wouldn't let it give anyone a ride. My dad
But
used to say that when
that's adolescence and hormones. Girls smell too. Young
oh,
adolescent girls smell as well. Like,
yeah, my dad used
let's
to tell
not
me
okay.
certain friends weren't allowed in his car anymore. Don't invite that kid over. I'm not giving that kid a ride. He smells terrible. But yeah, some of the kids just smell like so sour, like just bad
Yeah, but
milk.
that's also because 'cause they're going like, my daughter, my young one, showers every
Yeah.
single day religiously, and and I get it. I get it, I get it, I get it, and they're all into body scents because they stink. It's just that age that, like, all the hormones are going and the body
Yeah.
odor is starting to happen, but I'm talking about grown ass men. I'm talking about whole grown men
Yeah.
stink, and, not all of them, not all of you. I don't mean it all of you, but
No.
a lot, I was in line at the market yesterday and I had to look behind me. I had to turn around and like look at who is that? Like
Yeah.
what is
Is
that?
that bad?
And it's not that they're not showering, I don't think. It's something coming out of their pores and then it's covered up by cologne and I
Wow.
can't get with it.
Wow.
I take BO over that. I take sticky armpits
There
over that smell. I don't
you
know
go.
why it smells like a poopy bathroom with cologne.
I
I
let me tell you,
swear.
as a guy that's around other guys all the time, I don't know what women see in any of us. I mean, I'm not kidding. I'm like, holy cow, I don't know how you do it. I just straight out don't even know how you do it. Yeah, most guys are gross as can be. So I don't know to tell you. Denise, those are great questions. We appreciate that as well. Again, if you want to ask Nicole a question, it's easy. All you go to perfectlytwistedpod.com, look at Nicole's mailbag, send them in, and we'll try and get them on the show. So
Yes.
that's it. Those are all 5.
Don't forget to like us, subscribe to us, and anybody has any recommendations at CVS. I'm really looking for a good moisturizer, and I've got a coupon burning a hole in my pocket. So write to me if you've got any suggestions on that because I'm curious. And yes, we will see you next week.